is it that I'm trying to say? I don't even know what I'm trying to say, y'all. I definitely want to read. I hit myself so hard. I was like, ugh, I need to stop being so chaotic. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Melanie, and today I am here with my most anticipated releases for 2021. 2021 is right around the corner, and it is that time of year where I tell you all of the books I'm looking forward to in 2021, books that you may or may not have heard of, but books that I am definitely excited about and I would love to share with all of you. We have a mix of everything in this video. We have a little bit of fantasy, thriller, sci-fi, romance. We have romance in here too. We have a little bit of magical realism, got a little bit of everything. So don't worry, because regardless of what you like, there must be something here for you, and I got you. I got you. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do so down below for more bookish content. I am constantly uploading videos that I am sure you do not want to miss, and I am also live streaming throughout the week as well, doing weekly reading sprints. And you can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wish list in case you want to support me and my channel and gift me a book. And yeah, without a further ado, let's get right into it, because these are 12 books, and if you know anything about me, it's that my one and only talent is talking. So let's just get right into it. All right, so let me start off with the book that I have a physical arc for. The publicity company did reach out to me to see if I wanted an arc of this book, and I said yes, because honestly, I am not that big into sci-fi, but this is kind of like sci-fi thrillery, mystery, so I definitely want to give this one a try. So huge thank you to Smith Publicity and Wattpad Books, yes, Wattpad Books, for sending this arc my way, and I am talking about Downworld by Rebecca Phelps. Just listen to this tagline, okay? Would you destroy another world to save your own? In the world of Downworld, we have this high school called East Township High School that used to be a site for a military base, and there's always been the suspicion that in this military base, experiments started going on where basically it opened a portal to other worlds. So there is kind of like a multiverse element to this story. In this book, we follow new girl Marina O'Connell, who is still reeling with the death of her brother, and the death of her brother was really unexpected. Nobody really understands what happened to him. However, once she meets Brady in her new high school, he would lead her to a startling discovery where past, present, and future all meet, and she may be able to discover exactly what happened to her brother. It is not that simple though, because this multiverse has a lot of rules, and what is taken from one world must be compensated in the other. So this just sounds so intriguing to me. Again, it's like the best mix between thriller, mystery, and sci-fi. And if you know anything, I love me a thriller. If you know anything about me, I don't really read sci-fi, so I think this could be one of those books that introduces me to the genre of sci-fi and that I would be more okay with reading, because I feel like I will understand it a little bit more. The next book is also one that I have an arc for. I do have a digital arc, so thank you so much to St. Martin's Griffin for sending that digital arc my way, because after reading this author's debut novel, I am just excited for whatever the author puts out, and that is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. If you've been on my channel for a little bit, or if you've stalked my channel, then you'd know that this year I read Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is Casey McQuiston's debut novel, and I absolutely loved it. So when I found out that Casey McQuiston was coming out with another book, also a contemporary but with a twist of magical realism, I guess you could also argue sci-fi, I was all in for it. And may I add, it is sapphic romance. This book is a queer spin on Kate and Leopold. We follow a 23-year-old called August, and August is very cynical. August does not believe in easily forged friendship. She doesn't believe in physics. She doesn't believe about falling in love like the movies tell you to. Given that she's so cynical, it is bound to happen that August is very routine-like. She goes to work every day, she doesn't like her roommates, and she commutes to work on the subway every single day. On her way to work one day, she meets Jane, beautiful, impossible Jane, who starts making August's day brighter. However, August soon realizes that this girl is impossible in more ways than one, and she is actually from the 1970s. So in order to save this girl that August is super fond of, she embarks on this journey to try and save this girl before it is too late. Again, Casey McQuiston really did it for me with Red, White, and Royal Blue, so I have something to base myself off of, and I I knew I loved that book, so I'm super excited for One Last Stop. It's magical realism, it's romance, it's sapphic. What's not to love about it, besides the fact also that the cover is stunning. They really do know what they're doing. The next book should come as absolutely no surprise, because if you know anything about me, which I feel like all of you should know by now because I scream about these books way too much here on my channel, my all-time favorite series is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. The fourth book in the series is A Court of Silver Flames, and the amount of excitement I hold for this book is unbelievable. The excitement for this book is so real that I am hosting a read-along for A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas alongside two of my Booktube friends, Deja from Deja's Book World and also Molly from Mind of Molly, and I am just so excited for this read-along to start. We are starting in December, so you still have time to grab your copies. I will leave my announcement video linked down below in case you want to know all the deets and you want to join us for our read-along. In A Court of Silver Flames, however, we do not follow the main character of A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is Feyre Archeron. Still to this day, I don't know how to pronounce Feyre's name, and that is unacceptable. But we do not follow Feyre, but instead we follow her sister, Nesta. I will not spoil anything in case you have not read A Court of Thorns and Roses, like the main trilogy, but let's just say that Nesta is very stubborn, she is very fiery, very opinionated, and she is also very moody. After the events of A Court of Thorns and Roses, Nesta truly is trying to find her way and the dynamics of this world that she is not really accustomed to. And the one person who ignites her fire like no other is Cassian, who is part of the Night Court. And these two will have to embark on a journey together to figure out exactly what's happening in the world. And it may get steamy, it may get interesting. I'm sure there's gonna be lots of conflict. I hope there will be some Feyre in this, but I am primarily excited for this book to truly see the dynamics between these side characters that we have grown to know and love in the main trilogy. And don't even look up the synopsis on Goodreads. I will leave it linked down below, but if you've never read A Court of Thorns and Roses, do not. And I repeat, do not read the synopsis. That's why I'm being so vague. I warned you, okay? I warned you. Another sequel that I am really looking forward to in 2021, and the synopsis that I'm gonna give you is also gonna be kind of vague because I don't want to spoil you. And I, again, will leave it linked down below, but just don't look at the synopsis if you haven't read the book. And that is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is gonna be the second book in the trilogy The Last Hours. And this trilogy takes place between the Infernal Devices, which is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments, and the Mortal Instruments, so it's right smack in the middle. So that being said, in The Last Hours, we follow Cordelia Carstairs, James Herondale, Lucy Herondale, Grace Blackthorne, and a bunch of other characters whose last names we are familiar with because of the other series in the Shadowhunter world. The trilogy really starts once the Carstairs and the Blackthorns arrive to London after it's been all peace and quiet, because after the event of the Infernal Devices, there has been zero to none demonic activity in the city. So when they arrive, that demonic activity starts picking up a little bit more, but they also bring a plague with them. So we have a bunch of characters who have different motivations, characters who have completely different dynamics, and Cordelia truly just wants to find out what's happened to her father and why the Clave is not giving him a fair trial. And then James truly just wants to find his epic love the way that his parents did. And then Lucy's just trying to find her way. And then we have the Merry Thieves, who is James's group of friends that is comprised of Fairchilds and Lightwoods, and just I truly did love Chain of Gold, and I would understand why some people did not like Chain of Gold because it is a very character-driven story as opposed to her other trilogies, which I would argue are more plot-driven, but I honestly loved the fact that it was character-driven. The dynamics in the book I absolutely adored, because in Chain of Iron we do have a little bit of like a mystery element, but in this book we are trying to find out who a knife-wielding killer is. And you know anything about me, I love myself a good mystery, and if it's set in an urban fantasy, I am absolutely there for it. And then we're also following Cordelia like we did in the first book as she makes a mysterious deal for a major power, and then James trying to battle with his own powers, and then Lucy with a very hidden plot. So I'm just excited for this book. I am a sucker for the Shadowhunter Chronicles, just as I am every Sarah J. Maas book. Another book that I am just so excited about because after reading this author's debut novel, I just have to admit, insta-buy author for me from now on, and the next book I'm going to be talking about is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas, who wrote Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. And I do have 2 copies of Cemetery Boys, if you couldn't already tell. Lost in the Neverwoods is actually a Peter Pan retelling, and I am 50-50 with retellings. Some I love, some I don't really love. Just look at the tagline for this book. When children go missing, people want answers. When children go missing in the small coastal town of Astoria, people go to Wendy for answers. The book, based on the synopsis, I'm assuming will pick up around 5 years after the main event of Peter Pan, when Wendy and her siblings go missing. However, once other children in the town go missing, people really start questioning the mysterious disappearance of Wendy's brothers. Wendy, however, attempting to run from her past, runs over a boy's dead body lying in the middle of the street, and because of that, she gets pulled into this mystery. And Peter, a boy who she thought only lived in her stories, comes to her and tells her that if they do not solve this mystery, the missing children will face the same fate as her brothers did. So in order to find out what's truly happening, Wendy must go into the woods and find out herself. Aidan Thomas just completely blew me away with Cemetery Boys. It was such a stunning debut. From the writing and the plot and the characters, and then the themes addressed in Cemetery Boys were just absolutely incredible. I don't doubt that Lost in the Neverwoods will accomplish the same feat as Cemetery Boys did. So I'm just excited to see more from this author. I'm excited for, again, a fairy tale retelling, magical realism, fantastical, all of these mixed into one kind of plot. I'm just here for all of it. So I did have to mention this book because not only is Aidan Thomas an absolutely fantastic author, but they are also Latinx, and I am Latina. Next up on my list, I have a book that was completely influenced by Molly from Mind of Molly, because I honestly had never heard of this book. I had heard of the author before, but I've never read anything by them either, so it's gonna be a new experience all around once I do read this book. And the book is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. The Burning Girls is centered in this town called Chapel Croft, and this town has basically been ravaged by a tragedy. Some 500 years in the past, 8 Protestant martyrs were actually burned at the stake. More recently, 2 girls went missing, and even more recently, the town's vicar, the vicar. Google Translate will help me out. Vicar, the more you know. And 2 months ago, the vicar actually killed himself. Enter Reverend Jack Brooks, who has a teenage daughter. She is 14 years old, if I remember correctly, and he comes into this little village seeking a fresh start and a refuge. However, once he arrives, he starts figuring out that this town is filled with secrecy and mystery and tragedy like he never thought possible. And to top it all off, he receives a strange welcome package, an old exorcism kit and an old quoting scripture that says the following: "But there is nothing covered up that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known." So we basically follow Jack and Flo, who's his daughter, as they start delving deeper into this mystery, and they start finding out some really dark stuff that is in this village, and mysterious happenings that threaten to keep them in, but also drive them out. It's the theme of this video. I love me a good mystery thriller. This is exactly the mystery thriller that I want to read in 2021. I don't know, but I just read the words "an old exorcism kit" and I was there for it. I don't know what it is about it lately, but I've just found myself, again, very lately fascinated with the idea of reading books that have this kind of element to them. And so when Molly talked about this book, I was just like, let me Goodreads this book. Let me lighten things up a bit with the next book that I'm gonna discuss with you. I have not heard a single person talk about this book, and I am excited about it. There is something also going along the lines of certain elements in book that really intrigue me. There's just something about beauty and makeup in books that fascinate the hell out of me. It may be my makeup artist side that's just calling to me with books like these, and also because I don't think I've read any books actually that include any sort of element of that. And so when I read the synopsis, I was like, I'm here for it. Let me just talk about it. And I actually did request an arc for this, so fingers crossed a girl gets one. I don't even know if they're making arcs for this book. I'm just putting it out there. I am manifesting testing the arc because I feel like it's the perfect fit for me. You know what I mean? And the book is made in Korea by Sarah Suk. This book is a young adult contemporary, and I love me a good contemporary. I've said this before. I feel like contemporaries for me are truly like a palate cleanser, or if I want something more lighthearted, but still with a touch of very real situations and deeper topics. I just absolutely love contemporaries. This book is actually being pitched as a Frankly in Love meets Shark Tank. Now, I have not read Frankly in Love, but the Shark Tank aspect of it, it was game over for me once I read that. And just to sum up the synopsis, just to give you a little bit of a summary, we follow two Korean American entrepreneurs who butt heads with businesses, but also may fall in love. And you know what their businesses are about? Just brace yourselves, okay? Just hold on and listen to me. K-beauty. K-beauty businesses? You're telling me that I'm gonna get a contemporary that's about makeup and skincare? All jokes aside, in this book we follow Valerie, who loves nothing more than a good sale, and alongside her cousin, she runs VNC K-Beauty, which is her school's top enterprise run by a student. Knowing contemporaries though, enter the new kid who's called Wes, and his top dream is actually to study music after graduation, which is something that his parents very much disapprove. Coming into this new school, he truly sees a new opportunity to make enough cash to hopefully pay for his music career, and he ends up buying these K-pop branded beauty products that again will hopefully sell enough to help him. What he doesn't realize is that now with his new business, he is VNC's K-Beauty's top competitor. And now Valerie and Wes are going head to head because only one K-Beauty line can survive the battle, and this is all happening whilst they both battle the ongoing spark and attraction they hold for each other. This just sounds right up my alley with the K-Beauty element to it. I'm just super excited. It is also Korean centered. It just sounds like an absolute dream, and I am more than ready for it. Once I saw the cover on Twitter and I read the synopsis afterwards, I was like, game over for me. Mel's deceased. Mel is done for, and I will read this book. I will do all the things with this book, okay? Because I have no doubt this may just be a 5-star prediction for me. The next book is also a retelling, and I'm excited for it, and it is Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. If you couldn't already guess by the name, this is a Greek mythology retelling. If you should know anything about me, is that I love some Greek myths, and I'm here for it, okay? I'm here for it. In this book, we follow 17-year-old Daphne, who for years has been honing her body and mind into that of a warrior worthy of ancient Sparta. However, when push comes to shove, she actually encounters the goddess Artemis, who apparently holds her brother's life in her hands. There is an opportunity, however, because 9 mysterious items have disappeared from Mount Olympus that threaten to take the god's power away, to thrust the world into chaos, and for her brother's life to be forfeit. Things get even more interesting when Daphne goes on this adventure, on this quest to find all of these items and potentially save the world alongside Artemis's brother, Apollo, who, if we know anything about Apollo, is extremely charming, albeit a little bit cocky. So it is a Daphne and Apollo retelling, reimagining, and it is Claire M. Andrews' debut novel, which again makes me super excited to be supporting authors for the first time. And it's supposed to feature a very strong female-led adventure character, everything. I'm here for it. I just love fantasy. There's love, there's just a quest. It's like every element that I would love in a fantasy rolled into one book, and I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about this book. I don't know why people aren't talking about this, but when I found it on Twitter, because Twitter is apparently the hub for me, I was just incredibly excited, and I knew I had to shout it out. I had to talk to you all about it, and hopefully you're just as excited as me for this book, because I need the excitement to be everywhere. Are we ready for the next one? Because guess what? It's another thriller. When I made this list, I didn't realize how many thrillers I put in here. I don't know what this is about. I don't know what the world's trying to tell me. And the next book in my list is How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. I'm excited about this one. What can I tell you? It's another thriller for the books, and apparently the thrillers are winning and thriving in this channel, which I was not expecting because, as you can see from the shelves behind me, I read mostly fantasy, but apparently 2021 will be the year. But Katie has released middle grades in the past. It's called The Dragon Warrior and the Fallen Hero, and this is Katie's first YA novel, and it's also a thriller, and it's being pitched as, are you ready? It's pitched as a Crazy Rich Asians meets One of Us is Lying. In this book, we follow Nancy, who is pretty shocked to find out that her former best friend, Jamie, the top-ranked junior at Sinclair Prep, was found disappeared and afterwards found dead. She is even more shocked to find that her and her 3 best friends are actually the prime suspects of this investigation. And this is all thanks to the proctor, someone who anonymously incriminates them via the school's social media app. All of them used to be Jamie's best friends too, and now they are in a race to win against the proctor before the proctor releases more information than they'd like and costs them some of the most important aspects of their careers, as is Nancy's scholarship. Now, I have never read anything by Katie, but I love Katie. Her Twitter is great. May I add that she also follows me on Twitter? I don't know why, but Katie, if you're watching this, I love you. And I'm just really excited about this book. I will attempt to get an arc so that I can read this before it comes out, because I'm just genuinely excited to get into Katie's writing, especially in a YA thriller setting. But this one, it's just the dark academia-esque feel that it has to it. It also gives me like Pretty Little Liars vibes, which I am very familiar with because I'm not familiar with One of Us is Lying. But everything about it just screams, Mel, you will play detective while you read, and that is what I love to do. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The next one is actually a romance. Who would have thought? This is character development for Mel. However, it is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, and I have heard so many incredible things about the Brown Sisters trilogy. Even the 3rd book from the people who actually got an arc, which I don't know if I'll attempt to do because I've heard it's really difficult to get one. And I do own the 1st book, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I will be reading. I don't know if before the year ends, but definitely early into 2021 if I don't. In Act Your Age, Eve Brown, we follow Eve Brown. And Eve Brown is a certified hot mess full of chaos. Does that ring a bell? And whenever she wants to do something right, it suddenly goes terribly wrong. And the show of that is at a wedding when apparently somebody had to release the doves and she messes up big time. So her parents basically go, hey Eve, you know what? It's time for you to grow up, sis, because it ain't working for you. Enter Jacob Wayne, who is always in control. Always. That was game over for me. Like, I really, when I first read the synopsis, I didn't need to read anymore, but I'ma just keep going. He is the owner of a bed and breakfast, and his biggest goal in life is to be the top person in the hospitality industry. That being said, he expects nothing short of perfection. So when Eve Brown comes in to interview for the chef position in the bed and breakfast, he says, no way in hell, absolutely not. You are too chaotic and I want you nowhere near my kitchen. And then apparently she hits him with her car, supposedly by accident, and that's where the story kicks off. This is an enemies to lover romance. It is a romantic comedy. The main character is Black, so is the author, and I just am here for all of it. I think out of the entire trilogy, this is the book that sounds the most appealing to me. I don't know why, but also lately I've been fascinated by like bed and breakfast. So any book that is set in like that type of scenario, I typically want to like read and buy. I don't know why. Apparently the amount of thrillers I had in this video were not enough. So here are 2 more, and these are the last 2 books I'm going to be talking about. I feel like I really do need to make a part 2 where I talk a little bit more about like fantasy, because this is thriller dominated, y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. And the next book is actually The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. This is part of the Truly Devious series. I have read the 1st book in Truly Devious. I absolutely adored it. I had such a great time reading Truly Devious. I recently ordered the 2nd book as well so that I can, you know, climb my way up all the way to the 4th book. However, the 4th book in Truly Devious is the 4th book in the series, but it's also a standalone, so you don't need to have read the main trilogy in order to read this one, which is great in case you don't want to read the entire trilogy. But we do follow the same main character, whose name is Stevie Bell, and Stevie Bell is a huge true crime fan. She loves playing detective. She is super fascinated by Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. So this book is actually after she graduates from Ellingham Academy, which is the academy that she's been in for the previous 3 books, and now she is a bit of a celebrity in like the true crime community. And because of that status that she now holds, she gets an email from the owner of Bounty Lake Camp, I believe it's called, to actually solve the ongoing mystery, and it is the infamous Box in the Woods murders that happened back in the 1970s. Weird things start happening again in the camp. No dead bodies, however, but there is a reappearance of somebody called the Doll Collector. And because Stevie cannot back down from a good mystery, mystery, she accepts the job as a camp counselor to actually go there alongside some of her friends that we have seen in the past Truly Devious books to attempt and solve this ongoing mystery. And for some reason, this book is giving me like slasher feels because every single slasher film that I have watched centers around a camp at some point or other in the story. So I don't know if this is gonna be slasher-esque or if it's just gonna be like creepy, like I'm gonna leave messages behind or what. I am intrigued. I love Truly Devious, and that is all that I need to be hooked onto this fourth book. And the 12th and final book in the most anticipated releases video of today, because I may just put up a second video. This book is actually one that I added pretty recently. It is also a mystery thriller, and the book is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Yimide. I don't know if that's how the name is pronounced. I hope so, because I see some accentuation in the name, and if I'm butchering it, I'm so sorry. But I recently found this book, and the cover is stunning. Not only that, it's like a contemporary thriller giving dark academia feels. This is a story that goes very, very deep into institutionalized racism. And if you know anything about the types of books that I like to read, particularly in the contemporary setting, I love dark themes, but I also love realistic themes that need to be addressed and that need to be discussed. And what better way to start the conversation than writing a book that includes set themes? This book is set in Nevios private school that is a place where money runs high, it paves the hallways, and where anything less than perfection will not be accepted. Until now, because anonymous texter Aces is actually bringing to light some dark secrets by two of the students attending this private school. We follow Devon, who is a talented musician and who is recurringly in rehearsals. He literally devotes his life to music until he cannot escape the spotlight because of some private photos that came to light, not because of his talent. And then we have head girl Chiamaka, who will do anything to get what she wants, except that soon people will find out exactly how much she paid for that power. Someone is out to get these two, and it is bound to be way more than a high school game. I am extremely excited about this book. Ever since I saw the cover, ever since I read the synopsis, it just screams everything I would love. I did find this book because of Joel over at Fictional Fates, which if you are not subscribed to Joel, you should be. I did find out about this book because he posted it on his Insta stories, and if I do say so myself, I think this is one of the books that I am the most excited about from this list. And those are all the books I have for you guys today in my most anticipated releases for 2021. I do have more books that I am really excited about, so let me know if you'd like a part 2 of this video. If you've heard about any of these books, definitely let me know down below, or if there's any other books that you are particularly excited about for 2021, let me know that in the comments, because I am always looking for the next book to add to my TBR. If you reach the end of the video, comment down below some black hearts. Let me switch it up. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more bookish content. I am constantly uploading videos that I'm sure you do not want to miss. You can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wish list. And yeah, that is all for today. I love y'all, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.